NHS. You want to land a job with the NHS, and you also want to land visa sponsorship. Okay. Now, the focus of our session would center around what you need to learn, the skills you need to learn, the career path you need to focus on if you want to land a job as soon as you can and as soon as possible, especially a job that comes with visa sponsorship. Okay. So before we get right into the meat of our session, I'd like to know where you're joining from. Okay. So type into the chat, Michael, Aurel, Lua, Kennedy, and the rest of, almost 30 people on the call. We're expecting more people to come. So type where you're joining from. If you're joining from the UK, where in the UK are you joining from? I'd like to know before we get started. Ireland, Kennedy, fantastic. So let's get more feedback coming in. Leeds, brilliant, Rukaya. London from Delia, Sheffield, Aberdeen, Norwich, fantastic, Edwina. Okay, now if you know anybody that you think would benefit from a session like this today, get them into this session. Copy the link, share it with them, get them on board so they also get to benefit from our session today. We'd have an amazing time. That I can promise you. Okay, if you've been stuck, you've been applying to jobs, you really don't know what you're doing wrong. Today, you'd learn a few things that help you make a change in your job application process and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get right into our session for today. So, what are the best NHS trusts, civil service roles, especially for somebody trying to get a job that comes with the skilled worker visa? Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss today. Our session will center around that. And before we wrap up, you'd understand clearly what you need to do. Huddersfield or Lower, brilliant. Kumar is from Hertfordshire. Okay. Now, why are we here today? That's the number one question we want to answer. And people are here today for several reasons. Okay. Let me go ahead and share so I know you can all see what I'm sharing. Fantastic. Now you can see my screen. Now, why are we here today? We have different categories of people, and you've told us the reason why you've joined this session. We have one group who are physically strained. You are tired of shifts. You are tired of the long working hours where you have to spend more time, work a lot of shifts in order to make more money. All right. So you're emotionally drained. You are physically drained, and you want a role where your body would no longer have to pay the price for your income. So you don't have to work more in order to make more money. You don't have to work physically demanding jobs because you want to make more money. So there's a group of you here today that fall into this category. And of course, we also have some of you who are carrying the silent pressure of visa uncertainty. You really don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. You've done everything you can. You've sacrificed so much to come down to the UK. Now, the question is, how do you transition from where you are and get into a job where you secure your future in the UK? You don't have to leave the UK because you're running out of time. Currently on your post-study visa, you're a dependent, your sponsor lost their license. There's been so many stories around that. What do you need to do? And for some of you, you fall into the category of you are scared of starting from zero. And the fear for you is if I start a new journey, if I get into a new career path, what happens to my previous work experience? Do I have to start from zero? So there's that fear of starting from zero. Okay. So I want you to know that you can get into a new career, totally new career path, and still leverage your previous work experience. Get into a career path that give you more time for your family. You can work remotely, work from home, do amazing stuff, and get to achieve the reason why you moved to that country where you are, especially for those of you in the UK. So at the end of today's session, I'll show you how to do four critical things. And number one is I'll show you how to convert your work experience to a job in tech within the next 6 months and jobs that come with visa sponsorship. So what do you need to do? What should you focus on if you want to get a job in the next 6 months? And of course, I'll show you the skills you need to learn, the skills that are required to land a job in 2026, especially a job that comes with sponsorship. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Okay. You think you know the skills you need to gain. However, are these the same skills the employers want from you? So you don't want to learn things that you assume that are the things you need to learn. You want to learn the skills, get into the career path that employers are actually looking for. And of course, I'd also show you how to gain work experience because today, 2026, any employer across the globe, especially in the UK, does not care about what you can do. They only care about what you have done. So what work experience do you bring to the table? Have you done it before? If you don't have the experience, you don't have the expertise, I can't trust you. Okay. So I'll show you how to gain work experience even before you get that job to show employers they are the best candidate for the job. And finally, I'll show you how to get started today. And this is one of the most important parts. So when you've learned all the strategies, the next step is how do I start the journey? So I'll show you how to start today. Okay. So who are we at Analytics before we dive into the main meat of our session? So Tenalytics is a leading educational technology company, and it's Tenalytics, not 10 Analytics. For some people, they call it 10 Analytics, but it's Tenalytics. It's a leading educational technology company focused on helping people land high-paying jobs within the tech ecosystem. We operate out of Alberta in Canada and also London in the UK using our sister company, Amdari. And I'll talk about Amdari as we move on today. In the last 5 years, going into the sixth year, we've helped over 4,000 people, just like you, who had no prior experience, no prior knowledge. We've helped them transition into the tech ecosystem and land their very first jobs. We have over 182 full-time employees and access to over 300 industry experts. And these are professionals whose mission is dedicated to helping you succeed. We help you across the tech ecosystem, but in a specific career path, not the entire tech ecosystem. So when people say tech in itself is very broad, but we distill it down to specific areas in data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, data science, cybersecurity, agile project management, and so on and so forth. And as we move on today, you would understand the reason why these are the specific career paths we have chosen to focus on, especially for those of you looking to land visa sponsorship, for those of you looking to land jobs within the NHS, within the civil service, and so on. You would understand the reason why these are the career paths you want to focus on. Okay. And that's me right there. And that's the co-founder right there, Ifemena. Okay. And I'll get to share my journey as we move on today. So just a bit of introduction about myself. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across management consulting and data analytics. So just like so many of you, I had no knowledge. I had no background in computer science. I had no background in tech. I studied industrial chemistry in the university. And my first job out of the university was as a management consultant within the financial services sector. But I decided that I wanted to transition. I wanted a better paying job. I wanted a job where I could grow, see the impact of the work that I do, and earn significant, better remuneration than where I was at that time. And that led me into data analytics. And over the last decade, as the founder of Tenalytics, the co-founder of Amdari, two foremost edtech companies, we've been able to help over 4,000 people to also make that transition from no technology background to landing their very first jobs. We've helped nurses become data analysts. We've helped nurses become health tech analysts. We've helped accountants become project managers, cybersecurity analysts, and so on and so forth. All right. I currently work as a data analytics and engineering contractor in Canada. I've worked as a data science consultant. I've lived and I've worked in the UK as a data science consultant, as a customer insights analyst. And I've also worked remotely back when I was in Africa, back in Nigeria, worked for companies in the US I've worked with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst and as a management information systems analyst, MIS. I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. I've worked across 5 different sectors, started in financial services, moved into sports, educational technology, energy, and the automobile sector. All right. And I'm going to share my journey as we move on today. How did this guy with no background in tech, studied industrial chemistry, get into data analytics, built 2 amazing startups that have helped over 4,000 people like you transition? And I'll share that journey. I'll walk you through the things you need to take note of and how those that have made it ahead of you, how they went ahead to do it. All right. Now, as we dive into the main meat of our session today, I'll be asking questions and I want us to have an interactive, engaging session today. And the first question I have for you is visa sponsorship still possible in the UK today in 2026? Just type in a yes or no into the chat. Is visa sponsorship still possible? Yes or no? I'd like to know your thoughts before we move on. Matthew says yes, very much. Okay, Mahab says no. Olatunji says yes. I'd like to get your feedback. Type into the chat. Is visa sponsorship still possible? Are people getting sponsored? Are people getting jobs? Type in a yes or a no. Kennedy says yes. Delia says yes. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Delia. Okay. Michael says nope. Yes, with the right experience. I love that, Oreolua. Yes, with the right experience. Osezele says really difficult. Absolutely. Now, and I'll tell you, I like what Osezele said and also what Oreolua said. It's really difficult. And you know the reason why? If you can't show today that you have work experience, forget about it. The UK environment, the job market today is no longer rewarding skills, is no longer rewarding credentials, but is rewarding experience. So if you can't show that you have experience, forget about sponsorship. You might get a job somewhere in a small company, a startup, and so on and so forth. But if you can't show that you have work experience, forget about it. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through what you need to do and how other people like you have been able to do it. Now, one of the major reasons why people look at the NHS is simply because the NHS comes with a lot of stability. And the NHS is also one of the organizations that offer sponsorship most of the time. Okay. However, it's also become so competitive with the NHS as well. Okay. So when you say something is difficult, it means there are limitations, there are blockers along the way, but you need to know those blockers. If you know what those blockers are, the next step is how do I start reducing the barriers, removing those blockers so I can start to get opportunities? So the NHS is one of the organizations that give you stability in the UK, and a lot of the jobs you'd get within the NHS also comes with sponsorship. Not all NHS trusts would give you sponsorship, but a lot of them will. And today our session would center around the NHS and how to go about the entire application process, what you need to do, most especially apart from what you've been doing before, which is focusing on credentials, focusing on just the skills, but now you need a little bit more than that. The NHS is also the largest recruiter of talent in the UK. Over 230 plus NHS trusts in the UK, and most of them would offer sponsorship, like I mentioned earlier. Okay. And you also have the largest. I'm going to mute everybody so we don't have any distractions. We'll take questions and answers towards the end of our session today. When we get there, you have the opportunity to unmute and speak. Okay. So the NHS hires the largest number of people in the UK public sector. And it's also one of the largest employers of talent. The NHS hires about a million to 1,500,000 people across the entire UK. Now, getting into the NHS means you get a job that comes with stability, that is structured, the pay is reasonably good, you have strong career progression, and then you also have the high chance of landing that sponsorship, getting a COS, applying for your skilled worker visa, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're going to look at some roles. And the first thing I want us to identify today, we have 5 strategies I'm going to share with you, and would walk into those 5 strategies deliberately. And the first step is more like a game. I want us to look at people that have gotten jobs within the NHS. We look at the roles, and I want us to try to figure out what particular skill did they learn? What career path did they choose in order to get that job? So I'll show you the reference, because before the NHS confirms you, most employers in the UK, not just the NHS, before they confirm your employment, they confirm that offer, they will do a background check. Okay, they would validate the skills, validate who you are. They do a background check to be sure you are who you say you are. And more importantly, where you have worked before. That's where they get a reference from. Okay, so the NHS would always send a reference request to Tenalytics. And I'll show you people like you that joined a call like this. They joined a particular career path with Tenalytics and they got jobs. And those jobs came with sponsorship. So we're going to look at the reference requests, and then we'll look at the job titles. And what I want you to do is very simple. I want you to tell me, which career path do you think these people decided to pursue? So if you think it is project management, you type project management in the chat. If you think it is something else, DevOps engineering, you type DevOps engineering in the chat. I'd like to know your thoughts about these career paths. Okay. Somebody said, yes, with a bit of luck. I don't believe in luck, Chandan. I believe in doing something the correct way so many times that eventually you stumble on luck. So you make your luck happens. You make your luck happen, rather. I beg your pardon. You make your luck happen. If you do something so many times that it becomes impossible for you to fail, you create your luck eventually, because you're going to stumble on that chance that other people would not get. If you apply to more jobs, you have the right skills, you have the experience, you have a portfolio, and so on and so forth. You're going to create your luck for yourself. Okay. So don't just hope is not a strategy. Okay. And you don't just want to hope and expect things to happen. You want to know exactly what to do. All right. So let's take the very first reference and let's see what career path did this person decide to pursue. So this is a reference request from the Humber Health Partnership, one of the NHS trusts. And somebody had gotten a job and they reached out to me. This was on the 21st of March, 2025. Okay, just about 12 months ago. And they reached out to me. Hello, Adeza. Dear Adeza Suleiman. This person has gotten a job and they have given us your details to approach you for a reference. She got a job as a project support officer. Okay, that's the job title. Project support officer. The job came with sponsorship. It was with the NHS, but I want you to tell me, which career path do you think she decided to pursue to land a job as a project support officer? Just type it into the chat and then I'll reveal what the correct answer is to you. We'll do this for like about 5-6 people and then we'll move on to something else. So type into the chat, project support officer role. Her name is Zulay. So what career path do you think Zulay decided to pursue? Kemi says project management. Zbook says project analyst. Michael says data analytics. That's interesting, Michael. Data analytics to project support. That's totally different. Ethan says business analysis. I love that, Ethan. iPhone, I can't see your name, but iPhone says project management. Ngozi says data science. Okay, fantastic. So Ethan and Chandan, you guys have you're smart. Okay, the both of you, project support management, and we can keep on guessing and guessing and guessing. Okay, but between Ethan and Chandan, you got the answer right. So this is Zulay. Zulay joined business analysis and she got a job as a project support officer. Came with sponsorship. And the question is, and the reason why a lot of people chose project management, which of course you can also get the same job if you do project management. Okay. But I'll tell you how Zulay got her job as a project support officer, even though she did business analysis. So when we get there, I'm going to come back and show you exactly what she did and how we helped project the project management, the business analysis skills, highlighting the project management functional areas within business analysis. So this is Zulay. Zulay got this job, came with sponsorship. She was just as skeptical as so many people. She didn't think she could get sponsorship, but she wanted a better paying job. She wanted a job that came with sponsorship. And the NHS was one of the organizations we will advise you to go for. Okay. She did. She came to us. She joined business analysis and she landed his job. Now let's move to the second person very quickly. This gentleman, his name is Ahmed. Ahmed, this is the NHS Southeast Coast Ambulance Service reaching out to us. He got this job in June last year, 2025. He came to us. The NHS reached out to us to say, hello, Mr. Deza Suleiman. We want you to provide a reference for Ahmed. He has been given the role of a health informatics support worker. Health informatics support worker. So what career path do you think Ahmed decided to pursue? What career path do you think Ahmed decided to pursue to get a job as a health informatics support worker? Chandan says data science or data analyst. Okay. Yes, maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Anthony says BA. Let's get more feedback. And one thing I want you to do, I want you to write it down, document the career path because it's very important. Because one of the first things you want to do, and that's our first strategy, is you must have the right skills, the skills employers are looking for. Health tech, Reagan, absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so Reagan got it right. Healthcare tech, which means health tech. Okay, so Ahmed, just like so many of you, decided to pursue his career as a health tech analyst. He joined our health tech analyst program and he got a job with the NHS as a health informatics support worker. So a lot of people come to me and they ask, Adeza, how can I get a job as a health healthcare informatics specialist? How can I get a job as a healthcare data analyst and so on and so forth? One of the best ways for you to get there very fast is as a health tech analyst. Of course, like Chandan also said, data science and data analytics would get you there. The only difference is data science, data analytics would focus on projects across different sectors. You're going to work on projects in retail, FMCG, transportation, financial services, and so on. But the health tech analysts would work on projects in healthcare. So when I get into an interview with the NHS, I know exactly what to say. I know how to position myself simply because I have worked on projects in healthcare before. So Ahmed did that, he joined our health tech analyst program, got a job as a health informatics support worker. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is Mary. Mary got a job with the Newcastle Trust. That was last year, 2025. And Mary got that job as a junior IT service desk analyst. Junior IT service desk analyst. And the NHS reached out to me. Dear Mr. Deza Suleiman, Mary has gotten this job. Provide a reference for her. Vouch for her. She has the skills. She can do the job, and so on and so forth. And usually, all I need to do is click on this link. It takes me to a form, fill the form, complete the reference. So I want you to type into the chat, what career path do you think Mary joined to get that job as a junior IT service desk analyst? Type into the chat. Okay. Data analyst Matthew, data analyst Zbook, data analyst, I think that was from before, from Kennedy. So just Zbook has responded. Data analyst. Let's see more. Type in more. Let's see. I would like to know your feedback. What career path? Philomena, data science. If I say cybersecurity, close, but no. Imo, Imonike, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, please pardon me. Data analysis, Philomena, data science, Mahab, data service. I mean, I guess you meant data science. Michael, data analyst. Okay. Chandani could be so many things. All right. I agree with you. However, Mary joined our data analytics program, and Mary got this job last year, 2025, as a junior IT service desk analyst. Okay, let's move on to the next one very quickly. So this is, I believe this is a no-brainer. Senior project manager, that's the job role with the Lincolnshire Teaching Hospital, one of the NHS trusts. Again, they reached out. Hello, Adeza Suleiman. We want you to provide a reference for this gentleman, Adeolua. Adeolua got a job, and we want you to send in a reference for him. This was in October 2025. So what career path do you think Adeolua decided to pursue to get that job as a senior project manager? Senior project manager. Okay, type into the chat. I'd like to see. This one is a no-brainer. Okay, it's a no-brainer. Kennedy says project manager. Let's get more feedback. PMO, PMO for sure, absolutely. Chandan, project management, PMP. So, like I said, it's a no-brainer. Adeoluwa joined our Agile project management program, and he got a job as a senior project manager. Okay. Now, this one is going to stretch you. The next one is going to stretch you a little bit. But I want you to take notes of the career path. Very important. Now, I want you to look at this role. This is a data protection paralegal role. Data protection paralegal. Data protection paralegal. I try to remove as many information so you don't figure it out. But let me see who's going to figure it out easily. Okay. Data protection paralegal. So type into the chat, what career path do you think Sandra, her name is Sandra. What career path do you think Sandra decided to pursue? Anthony says cybersecurity, but I want you to distill it down, Anthony. Okay, what aspect of cybersecurity? Distill it down a little bit. Mary says GRC, Ethan says GRC, Chandan says GRC. So since the cat is out of the bag, Sandra joined our GRC program, got a job last year in October as a data protection paralegal. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Sandra as we move on, okay? Because some of you said something that was quite instructive. You need experience to get that job. So what did Sandra do? If you go to Sandra's profile, which I'm going to take you to her profile, one of the things you would see that she did was to list her internship, the internship she did with us, to list it as part of our work experience. They reached out to us for a reference as usual, and we provided that. And that got her a data protection paralegal role. And, governance, risk, and compliance, that's something you'd also see on her profile. So that's Sandra. Let's move on to the next one. GRC. Sandra did GRC. This is an information analyst and team administrator. Information analyst and team administrator. Information analyst and team administrator. So type into the chat, what career path do you think Ram Ikmat Tijani joined to get a job as an information analyst and team administrator? Data analytics, Chandan. Okay, let's get more feedback quickly. Quickly, we have just about 2 minutes to complete this exercise. Only Chandan. Okay, data governance, Regan. Information analysts. Okay, so and this is one thing I like what Olatunji sent, and I see the same sentiment play out among so many people. Now, because I got a job as an information analyst does not mean I went to study information analysis or I studied something information management. No. Okay. And that's exactly what played out right here with Ikmat. Ikmat joined data analytics and got a job as an information analyst and team administrator with the NHS. Remember, all these jobs came with full visa sponsorship. Okay, so I have one more. There are many more, but I think I'll just take this last one because of time. Okay, and there was one exciting one that I'd love to show, but we don't have enough time anymore. So this is a business architect role, business architect. And this lady, amazing lady, Ramat Bankole, got a job as a business architect with the NHS, the Midlands Partnership University Foundation Trust, one of the NHS trusts. She got a job as a business architect. They reached out to us for a reference for Ramat. What career path do you think Ramat decided to pursue to get this job? Type into the chat quickly, and then we move on. Okay. BA, business analysis. Is it because it has business architect phenomena? Chandan, it could be project manager. Well, it could be, but it wasn't. Mary, business analysis, fantastic. Okay, so Ramat joined the business analysis program, business analysis, and she got a job as a business architect. Okay, business architect. Now, I think I'd still love to show this. Okay, so this lady, Oluwatoyin Eleja got a job as a benefits analyst. Benefits analyst. If you don't know who a benefits analyst is, you might struggle to get this one. Benefits analyst. Benefits analyst. So type into the chat. Chandan is a very smart person. Very, very smart. Very, very smart. And Olatu, very smart. Very smart. Because a benefit analyst is a professional who analyzes, improves the organization's employee benefits program. Okay. Analyzes benefits, utilization costs, and so on and so forth. They prepare reports on the benefit spending and employee participation around the benefits within the organization. But interestingly, you can easily get this job as a benefits analyst if you pursue the career path in HR analytics. Okay. However, Oluwatoyin did data analytics, but she still got the job. And the reason why she got the job, I'll explain. Chandan and those that selected HR analytics. Oluwatoyin had worked on HR related projects, employee turnover projects, talent management projects as a data analyst. And during the interview, she was able to show the dashboards, talk about those projects she completed that were related to HR. And they wanted somebody who could use SQL, who could use Power BI and Excel on that role. And Oluwatoyin had all those skills. And that was why she was able to get the job, even though she wasn't a HR professional. And the last one for today is Mawutin. Mawutin got a job with the Southeast NHS Foundation Trust as a pathology data analyst. Somebody's asking about data engineering. Yes, there is. I didn't just place it here, but I'll show you someone that got a job data engineering related, because the program today would not center around programs that require coding. And that's why I did not include data engineering. Data engineering is a code heavy program. You're going to code using Python. You'd write advanced queries in SQL. You'd write Linux scripts and so on and so forth. Okay, but I'm going to show you someone that got a job with the NHS after completing data engineering with us. Okay, so type into the chat pathology data analyst. What do you think this gentleman studied? Pathology data analyst. Absolutely. He studied a data analytics program. Data analytics program. So that's the first exercise I wanted to go through. All right. And I want you to also, there's a link in the chat for the attendance so that you get my slides, all the materials at the end of today's session. Okay. So one thing I want you to do is make sure you fill that link. Click on the link, fill the form so you get all the materials. Because people always come back to me to say, Adez, I didn't get the slide, I didn't get the recording of the session. If you want to get every single material today, make sure you fill that form. All right. So when you look at all the career path, and I said I was going to show you data engineering. Let me look for that quickly before we move forward. Okay. Someone who got a job in data engineering, his name is Gad. So what I think I'll do is I'll just take you to his LinkedIn profile. Okay. I'm not sure if I have that on my slide right here, but I'll take you to his LinkedIn profile and you get to see he did data engineering, got a job as an ETL developer, which is a data engineering role. His name is Gad. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but that's him right there. So if you scroll all the way to his experience, he currently works as a data warehouse and ETL developer with the NHS Business Service Authority. He started that role January, and he did his data engineering program with us at Tenalytics. And there's so many more. Okay, but this is just one of them. All right, wanted to show you that. Now, one of the things you want to take notes, looking at all these career paths, Tenalytics has over 237 alumni working with the NHS, and they're all on visa sponsorship. And the big question is, how did they get these jobs? How did they get these jobs with the NHS, with sponsorship? And I'm going to center my session today. I'll pick one. I picked one of them. Her name is Ikmat. And I'm going to walk through Ikmat's journey. What Ikmat did, I'll take her as a case study. Because we've done the exercise, we saw the references, and we've identified the career path they decided to pursue. But how did they get there? How did they start their journey? And how did they make it to a job offer? And the NHS reaching out to us for a reference. So Ikmat, who was a stay-at-home mom for over 2 years, she had a 2-year employment gap. A lot of people get scared of employment gaps. Ikmat had 2 years employment gap. She moved to the UK for a master's in public health. And while she was doing a master's, she realized that the jobs she saw listed by the NHS required specific set of skills that she wasn't learning during her master's program. They wanted, skills in Excel. They wanted skills in SQL. They wanted skills in other areas, Tableau, Power BI. She wasn't seeing these skills. She wasn't seeing them in a master's program. So what did she do? She also wanted to get sponsorship. So she joined our data analytics program and she was able to land a job with the Sussex Community NHS Foundation Trust. Okay. And I'm going to use Ikmat's journey as a case study today. And that was Ikmat who got the job as an information analyst and team administrator. So if you go to Ikmat's profile, something I want you to start to notice, Gad, who got a job in data engineering as a data engineer with the NHS, he did not say he was learning. He did not say he was studying. He did not say he was a learner. Very important. So one of you mentioned it at the beginning of our session. Experience is what gets you the job. So he had listed that he worked with analytics as an Azure data engineer. Okay. Same thing with Ikmat. Ikmat as well. Ikmat also listed She worked as a data analyst with Tenalytics before she got the job with the NHS as an information analyst. So I'm going to use Ikmat's story to drive my session today. So what's the first thing you must do if you want to land a job? And land a job that also comes with sponsorship. Get into a high demand career path that is eligible for sponsorship. That's number one. That's the first thing you must do. If you're not in a career path that is in high demand, forget about the job. It's going to always look difficult to you. You're always going to find it difficult getting the opportunity. So that's the first thing. If you look at everybody that I showed, and we all identified, okay, they decided to pursue this career or that career, they got into a high demand career path that is also eligible for sponsorship. Eligible. You could get into a high demand career, but is not eligible for sponsorship. You've had so many different policies, so many different changes in the UK over the last, couple of months. Okay. And some of the high demand career path you want to look at is the business analyst role, the data analyst role. You saw so many people get jobs because they did data analytics, business analysis, product design, agile project management, health tech, GRC, HR, and the financial analyst role. These are high demand career paths. And like I said, for the person who asked about data engineering, there are no code career path. No code means you're not writing complex code. You're not learning how to program at this point in your career. Because if you want to do that, that's going to take you especially for those of you that don't want to get into writing complex Python codes and so on at this point in your career. Okay. So these are 8 career paths that if you want to get a job today, get a job that is in high demand, comes with visa sponsorship, you want to consider these career paths. And I've also kept a link right here. So you'd see the link right here on my slide, and it takes you to the gov.uk website that shows these career paths are eligible for sponsorship for the skilled worker visa. So if you click on the link, for example, it takes you to the eligible occupations for visa sponsorship. Okay, you'd see that right there, eligible occupations and codes. And all you need to do is pick one code and you'd see the career path if they are eligible or not. One of the easiest ways to know if they are eligible is they are higher skilled. So higher skilled simply means it's eligible with no restriction. Eligible with no restriction. Okay. So I pick one career path, for example, I got a job as a business architect, which means I did business analysis. My job role, the responsibilities is a business analyst responsibility. The code is 2133 or 2431. They're all on the slide. So if you've not filled the attendance, make sure you've done that so you don't miss out. You have all this information. Okay. So I scroll all the way down to 2133, for example. 2133, or let's even start from here. 2131 is an IT project manager. That's an agile project manager. Okay, that's exactly what Adeoluwa did. He got a job as a senior project manager with the NHS. So you see that right there. 2133, you see the IT business analyst. And you also see further breakdown of these roles: data architects, data engineers, IT systems architect, IT business analyst, and so on and so forth. And another code that aligns to the business analysis career path is also 2431. Okay, 2431, management consultant and business analyst. So one question I've always gotten is, oh, Adeza, after the modification or after the changes to the list of eligible occupations, the data analyst role is not eligible. It is eligible. And from what you've seen, looking at ICMAT, for example, let's go back to ICMAT. ICMAT's job title did not say data analyst. What did it say? Information analyst. How do I know this is eligible for sponsorship? Very simple. I go back to this website, the gov.uk website. You would not see every single job role listed here. Okay. But what the Home Office would do is they look at the job responsibilities, they look at the job title, and so on and so forth, and they identify if this is eligible. So, what Ikmat would have done before she applied is she would have come right here to the Cascot Occupation Coding tool, clicked on this. It takes you to where you can identify the code that fits that job title. So, I type in information analyst. And I want to see the code information analyst. And you can see that the information analyst code, the job code on the list of eligible occupations is the what? Is the 2434. 24 what? 34. That's the closest with a score of 69. So what I'll simply do is I take this code 2434, I go back to the gov.uk website and I scroll all the way down to 2434. And that is the job code is going to fall under. And you can see these are intelligence analysts. If you're a data analyst, you will easily apply for a role like this. Okay, intelligence analyst, and it is what? Higher skilled. Higher skilled means it is eligible for sponsorship with no restrictions. Medium skilled means it is eligible for sponsorship with some restrictions. Ineligible means it is not eligible for sponsorship. So when you see higher skilled, you know you're home and dry. So that's the first thing you want to do. Get into a high paying, a high demand career path that is eligible for sponsorship. And I've kept all the codes right here for all the career path. So make sure you fill the attendance so you don't miss out on any of these information I'm sharing today. So that's number one strategy you have to deploy. Get into a high demand career path. And I want to ask, which of these career paths are you interested in? Which of these career paths do you want to get a job in? Type into the chat. How do I get the website? It's on my slide, Felly. All you need to do is fill the attendance so you get access. It's also publicly available. Okay. It's on the gov.uk website, list of eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. So Desmond says data science. So I'd like to know which of these career paths do you want to get a job in? Type into the chat. Aureolua says business analysis. Desmond, data science. Let's get more feedback. Type into the chat. Kennedy, project management. iPhone, business analysis. Ngozi, data science. Philip, data analysis. Type into the chat. Let's get more feedback. Health tech, DevOps, GRC from Mary, Davis, business analysis, Olushola, business analysis. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. That's step number one. That's one thing you must always do. Okay. So when you've done step number one, that was what Ikmat did. Ikmat saw that I have a 2-year gap. Of course, we showed her how to cover the gap so it doesn't, pose a problem for her when landing that job. And I'm going to play a video from Ikmat so you get to listen to her and you hear exactly how she was able to get that job, okay, from her own perspective. But that's the first thing she did. She joined a high demand career path, learned the skills, applied, got all the support, which I'll share, and eventually she landed that job. Once you've done that, the second thing you must always do, the second strategy is learning the skills required to land the job. Learning the skills. And it's, of course, go figure, Adeza. Of course, if I've decided I want to be a business analyst or I want to learn business analysis, I have to learn the skills. But where people get it wrong is learning the right way. You don't learn the right way. Most people learn the wrong way. 99% of the people that I've interacted with have learned the wrong way. Okay. There's been a lot of focus on credentials and a lot of focus on certifications rather than focus on knowing how to do the job. So learning the right way means you must know how to do the job on day one when you get hired. And you never get hired if you can't show or prove during the interview that you can do the job on day one. No employer wants to take a risk on you because everything now has been increased. For a company to sponsor you in the UK, it used to be £1,000 per annum. Okay, £1,000 per annum, and this is to the Home Office. Money for the administrative fees and the fee to sponsor one single employee. £1,000 per annum. So if I'm going to sponsor you for 5 years, it would cost me £5,000. But guess what? That changed. The Due to the new immigration policies, it's no longer £1,000. It's now £1,320, a 32% increase in less than a year. So this means that previously it would cost the company £5,000 to sponsor me for 5 years, not my remuneration, but money paid to the Home Office. But today, it's no longer £5,000. It's now what? £6,600. So it's more expensive than ever to sponsor you. And these are the reasons why you have rightly said that it's more difficult to get sponsorship today because everything is stacked against you. The salary threshold was also increased from £37,000 thereabouts to £41,700. So you're not just telling an employer to pay more to the Home Office in administration fees, in licensing fees. You're also telling them they have to pay more to the candidates, to the employee. So it's more expensive than ever. And if you were in the employer's shoes, trust me, you'd scrutinize every single, potential employee, a candidate you want to interview, a candidate, you look at their CV, you'd scrutinize them, carefully to ensure they are the right people to get into your organization. And this is one of the reasons why it's more difficult today. But how do you navigate that aspect? How do you ensure that you know how to do the job? You must learn the right way, not just learning the skills. Most of you learn the wrong way. So how did Ikmat learn? She did two things. And these are two things that if you're not doing today, you need to go back and start doing. All right. Number one is learning in a project-based environment. And what does this mean? This means learning by doing the job. You want to become a healthcare data analyst. You must do the job of a healthcare data analyst. You want to become a GRC analyst. You must do the job of a GRC analyst. You're not just going to learn. You're not just going to write exams or watch videos. You must do the job. What would a GRC analyst do on day one? And I'm going to play the video of Sandra, who got a job as a GRC analyst, as a data protection paralegal. I'm going to play the video. You listen to Sandra on why it was important for her learning in a project-based environment and how that helped her to get the job. Because when you learn in a project-based environment, you are doing the job, the real job. So when you get the job or during the interview, you speak about those things you've done to convince the employer that you are the right person for the job. When you've done this, you must showcase your work because nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares who you are, but they care about what you've done. So you must have evidence that you've done that job before by building a portfolio. So you do the job, you learn in a project-based environment, you solve problems, do the real work, and you must showcase that work. It must be available publicly. The whole world must see and know what you've done, the quality of the work you've done, and how good you are. All right. And of course, you're going to have to complete about 15 to 25 projects across multiple industries, multiple sectors that would show to anyone that this person knows how to do the job and we want to have an interview with them. And eventually during the interview, you're able to speak the language and convince them you're the right person for that job. And I'll show you how this plays out. During Ikmat's training, while she was learning with us, what did she do? She worked in a project-based environment. And what does that look like? Adeza, when you say project-based environment, what does it look like? So I'm going to show you what it looks like. And then I'll show you a portfolio, what a portfolio looks like, how you showcase that you've done this thing before. So they know you have the experience, not just the skills. All right. So let's go to one of the classrooms and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, this is a classroom for health tech, the health tech data analyst. You want to become a healthcare data analyst, a pathology data analyst. You want to become a healthcare data and reporting analyst, for example. To get a job with the NHS, you must work on hospital records, hospital data, medical records, clinical research records. That's the only way you know exactly what to say during your interviews. And you can convince anybody, the hiring manager, convince HR that you've done that job before. So when you're learning tools like Excel, you're not learning Excel the same way everybody learns Excel. You're not taking sales data, analyzing sales data and saying, I know how to use Excel because I can analyze sales or retail data. Whereas you want to get a job in healthcare. Okay, so this is a health tech class, for example, learning Excel. But when you look at the class material, you realize that this is a project for a hospital, Medcare UK Hospital Group. So you have a business problem. The hospital currently faces a problem, and the problem is they have different, branches, different trusts in different regions, and they are struggling to have a central reporting system, to have a central single source of truth where they get the data, create a report. And because of that, it's leading to delays in so many things, delays in taking decisions, delays in approval of um, claims approvals, and so on and so forth. So you would solve this problem using what? Microsoft Excel. This is not sales data. This is not project data. This is not retail data. This is hospital records. And when you solve problems like this, and you don't do this alone, you do this with a professional. So this is a live class. You do it with a professional on the call. This is what the recording of the class looks like. I'm just going to play that so you have an idea. Okay, so this is the same project. You work with a professional to solve this problems together using what? Microsoft Excel. It's a class where you can stop and ask questions and say, hey, I've done what you've done. I'm not getting the exact results you're getting. What am I doing wrong? You can share your screen and you get instant feedback. You must learn this way. If you don't, you can't get that job as a healthcare data analyst, as a healthcare reporting analyst, and so on and so forth. Now, when you've done this, you solve problems. This is Excel, for example. We can go all the way. We can look at Power BI, similar healthcare projects, St. Augustine General Hospital. Here you are using Power BI and Redshift to solve a problem for this hospital. Again, you are in a health tech program because you want to get a job in healthcare as a healthcare data analyst, healthcare reporting analyst, pathology data analyst, clinical data analyst, so many roles. All right. So when you solve this problem, what next? You must have a portfolio, evidence that you've done that job. And your portfolio would look like this. This is a portfolio, for example, some of the projects you've completed. This is a smoking health risk analysis dashboard. This is a brain tumor distribution analysis where you are looking at different levels, different stages of brain cancer, brain tumor, and you build an analysis around that. And the beauty about this is I'm not just going to read what you've done. I can interact with it in real time. So I can click on this link the same way the NHS hiring manager would click on that link. And it takes them to the reports that you've built and they can interact with it. So this is a grade 1 brain tumor. You can see the way it looks. I can click on grade 2 right here and my report, everything would change. You can see the part of the brain affected when you click on grade 2, the brainstem 160, the cerebellum, the temporal, the frontal, and so on. If I click on grade 3, everything changes. It is interactive. I can interact with this particular report the same way a recruiter would interact with your report and they say, hey, this person has good, solid experience. Let's get them into an interview. This is evidence that you've done the job. All right. I'll show you another portfolio. This is another portfolio of Victoria. She worked on a project for Deep Care Hospital ER visit analysis. I can click on this. It takes me to this particular project on Tableau. The first one was Power BI. The one for the brain tumor was Power BI. This is Tableau. I can come right here. I want to see data for only Q1. I can click on this. Everything disappears. And I click on Q2 and I can see data for Q2. It is interactive. When you get my slides at the end of today's session, you can also interact with these reports. And that's the same way the NHS or any organization that would consider hiring you would want to see that you've done work within the space that you say you have skills. If you don't have this, forget about it. Nobody's going to take a chance on you in 2026. Okay? So this is what I mean when I say learning the right way. You learn in a project-based environment, and then you showcase your work by building a portfolio. I've given you 2 strategies so far. The first one, we worked on that together, identify the career path, get into a career path that is in high demand and eligible for sponsorship. Number 2 is you must learn the right way. Know the skills to learn and learn the right way. When you've done that, you've done 2 out of 5. Still not done. What's the third strategy? I'm going to show you what to do as the third strategy. But before we get there, I want to show you the skills you need to learn, because for a lot of people, the question is, Adeza, I want to do business analysis. I don't think I need Excel. I don't think I need SQL as a business analyst. And I've seen so many people argue with me about this. There was a gentleman. Let me try to see if I can find his name. I can't remember his name, but I know he got a job with U Energy. U Energy. I'll see if I can find him as one of my connections. Let me check. His name is not Babatunde. Anyways, he got the job with this company, U Energy, in the UK. And let me tell you his story. He worked as a business analyst and then he lost his job. He was out of work for about 6 months and he couldn't get a job. And he couldn't even get an interview. And he joined a session like this. At the end of the day, we had a session, a one-on-one, and he said, "Oh, Adeza," sorry, he asked a question on the call, just like you guys are here today. And he said, "Adeza, I can't get an interview. I have worked as a business analyst before in the UK, but I can't get interviews anymore." And I told him to send me his CV, which he did. And immediately I saw the problem. So you're a business analyst, but you don't have Excel, you don't have Power BI, and you don't have SQL. There is no way you're going to get interviews in 2025. I think that was last year in 2025. I told him this. So what I want you to do is this: register for the business analysis program and learn these skills so you can add that to your CV, build projects on this, and add them to your portfolio. When he did this, he got that job with U Energy in just about 2 months. After he learned these skills and added that to his CV, 2 months after he had an interview. I'll probably look for him before our session, ends today, so you get to see him. But that's an example of not knowing what to learn. Even though you know this is the career path I want to join, but you don't know what to learn. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the skills you need to learn for each career path, and then I'll take you to the third strategy you need to take note of. Okay, so as a data analyst, for example, what tools and technologies do you need to learn? As a data analyst, you are somebody who helps organizations to make better decisions. And how do you do this? You collect data, analyze the data, interpret the data to help the companies answer questions that they have. Or why are sales dropping? Which marketing campaign works the best? Which products are customers buying the most? Where can the company improve efficiency? These are some of the questions companies want to answer. And what do? You get the data, analyze the data, create reports using tools like Excel. So, which means the first thing you must know as a data analyst is problem solving. A lot of people ignore this. Problem solving simply means you understanding what a problem is, identifying that this is a problem, knowing how to break problems into multiple parts using tools like the McKinsey MISI model. And when you break the problems into multiple parts, you use techniques like the prioritization matrix. Prioritization matrix. Which particular part of this problem do I need to prioritize? You know techniques within data analytics that helps you solve data analytics related problems. Frameworks like the CRISP DM framework. So you must know problem solving. How do I get to the root cause of a problem? I get to the root cause of a problem with a technique using the 5 whys. You learn problem solving. A lot of people learn to become data analysts by jumping into tools. Immediately they start with Excel and so on. You're going to fail if you do that. Because when you're asked the question around why, most people know what. Okay, they know the what tool do I need to use, and so on and so forth. But when you ask them the why behind it, why are you solving this problem first instead of that? Why are you choosing this route instead of the other route? They really can't answer this question. And these are the different techniques and frameworks and so on and so forth that you need to learn. So as a data analyst, you start from what? Problem solving. Then you move into Excel. You learn SQL, structured query language, to enable you interact with databases. You learn how to use Power BI. You see that project I showed you, the portfolio I showed you, where you had the brain tumor and all of that. This was built using Power BI. Okay, you're going to build the same type of project and so on using Power BI. Then you learn how to use Tableau, also for data visualization. You get to learn data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, generative AI for the data analyst. And of course, you tie everything together, automating your project, automating your tools and technologies using Microsoft Fabric. This is what it takes for you to get a job as a data analyst in 2026. Then you have the health tech analyst program, which is for those who want to get a job as a healthcare data analyst and so on and so forth. And people would ask me the question, Adeza, what's the difference between the data analyst and the healthcare data analyst? They are the same. They learn the same tools. If you look at the tools and technologies from 1 to 8, they're exactly the same. The only difference is that the health tech analyst focuses on medical organizations. They focus on hospital records, medical records. So 80% of the projects you would complete that would be in your portfolio would be healthcare related, while 20% will be other sectors. But for the data analyst, you'd work on multitudes of projects, healthcare projects, retail projects, aviation projects, FMCG projects, customer segmentation project, and so on and so forth. But in terms of the tools and technologies, you learn the exact same tools and technologies, and you learn the exact same frameworks, just like the data analyst as well. And how long does it take for you to get into this career path? It's for 8 months, 6 months in class, 2 months internship. 6 months in class, 2 months internship. The internship is incredibly important because that's where you start to work with other people. Because in the real world, you don't work in isolation, you work in a group. Okay, you work with other people, you gain other skills apart from your technical skills. You gain communication skills, interpersonal skills, you gain skills in managing deliverables and managing people. Now, Ikmat that I'm using as a case study, Ikmat did not get her job in 8 months. She got her job in about 3 months. And the reason why Ikmat got a job in 3 months was very simple. And people ask this question all the time. Oh, the program is for 8 months. You said this person got a job in 3 months. How did she do it? Very simple. The NHS at that time, recruiting for the information analyst role, they wanted somebody who knew Excel and SQL. That was all. These were the major tools they wanted from ICMAT, Excel and SQL. And within 3 months, ICMAT was done with Excel and SQL. She had moved into Power BI. So during the interview, she was even bragging to them that, hey, I'm going to change all the reports from Excel. I'll change them to Power BI so we can automate, create apps, send this to the management, and so on and so forth. So she was giving them more than they wanted from her at that point in time. So they were very impressed and they hired Hikmat. So, and that's how 3 months we start to light the fire under you for you to start to apply to jobs. Because sometimes you'd find that organization that requires the set of skills you have at that point in time. Okay. So the focus is you learn to, it's not you'll become a data analyst in 2 weeks. No, it's an immersive program. You learn all the skills. And even when Ikmat got a job, she completed the program, completed her internship because she wanted to have all the tools within her arsenal. Okay. So for those in the UK, you have your live classes. The live class I showed you earlier, where you work on projects together with a professional, it's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Now, if you're not in the UK, you are in the US, you are in Canada, that's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So you have classes tailored to those in the UK, classes tailored to those in the US, in North America, Canada, and so on. So the flexibility for you, for somebody in the UK is simple. That means if I can't join a class in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. my time, I can join a class which would be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's the class for those in the US. And every other day, from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are on the LMS. So there is a self-paced component to your program where you get to learn at your convenience. You watch your videos anywhere, any day, anytime. And I'll show you what the LMS looks like. So this is for the data analyst. For the rest, I'm going to move very fast. Okay. You've seen what the data analyst skills look like. Now, for the business analysts, remember, I gave the story of that gentleman who did not have this skill. And because of that, he couldn't land interviews. He was a business analyst that did not have Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And the moment I advised him to join business analysis, learn the skills, add projects to his portfolio, and start applying to jobs, he got a job with U Energy within the space of 2 months. As a business analyst, you must learn process mapping using tools like Lucid Charts, Draw.io. You learn project initiation and planning. Remember, Zulay got a job. I'll take you back to Zulay because I mentioned I was going to tell you how Zulay got a job as a project support officer, even though Zulay did business analysis. Do you remember Zulay? When I said she got a job as a project support officer, a lot of people, guessed that she did project management. But Zule was able to get this job simply because as a business analyst, there is a project management component to business analysis. All right. And that's project initiation and planning. This is a project management skill. Agile and Scrum for project is a project management skill. The software development lifecycle is a project management skill. Stakeholder analysis and management is a project management skill. So all we did for Zule was simple. You have these skills. You also know how to use Jira to track project deliverables as a business analyst. You know how to use Confluence to collaborate on projects as a business analyst. You know how to use Trello to track team members' tasks and responsibilities as a business analyst, and Azure DevOps to implement the agile methodology on projects. And these were the skills she projected during her interviews, the skills she projected on her CV, and that was how she got the job as a project support officer, even though she did business analysis. And of course, as a business analyst, you must also know requirement fundamentals, elicitation, and generative AI for business analysis using Charts GPT. Now, for the health tech business analyst, the skills are entirely the same in terms of the tools and technologies. The difference is the business analyst helps companies, any company, any type of organization, identify problems. They analyze the current systems, the current processes, and they find ways of improving those systems and processes. The healthcare business analyst, on the other hand, does exactly the same thing. The only difference is they do this in hospitals, in healthcare organizations, helping the doctors, the nurses, the nurse assistants, and so on and so forth to do what? Make the healthcare organization run smoother. So they optimize processes, they make processes run faster, they implement the right systems. But this time around, they do that within medical organizations. So as a healthcare business analyst, if this is the path you decide to choose, 80% of the projects you would complete would be in what? Healthcare. So we add 20% of other sectors so that you're not oblivious of what happens in other sectors, just in case you want to apply to jobs in other sectors apart from healthcare. So 20% would be in other sectors. And remember, we are talking about the NHS and jobs within the NHS. So anything healthcare within the NHS is absolutely important for you to understand. Again, the timeline for the business analysis program is pretty much the same: 8 months, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. But on the average, you'd see people get jobs in 3 months, in 4 months, in 5 months, even before they complete the program. Some of them, they complete, they get a job within the space of a year, and so on and so forth. But the most important thing you need to know is you start applying to jobs even within the program before you complete the program. All right. Again, if you're in the UK, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. If you're in the US, North America, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Now let's go to the Agile Project Manager. So as an Agile Project Manager, your focus is leading teams to deliver projects in a step-by-step process while adapting to change very quickly. So instead of planning everything together at once at the beginning of the project, the Agile Project Manager would do what? Implement the project in small stages called sprints. So if we want to build, I always like to use this example. If we want to build a patient management system that has online booking, so we want patients to have the opportunity or ability to book online. We want to have integration to calendars. So when I book online, I want to integrate my medical appointments into my Google Calendar or my iOS calendar, as the case might be. And we also want to integrate payments on this same patient management system. So the traditional project management methodology, which is the waterfall methodology, would advise that we plan everything at once. So what does it take? What resources do we need? And so on and so forth. But the agile project management, the agile methodology, on the other hand, would say that let us break it down into small stages called sprints. So sprint one, and that's simply because if I plan everything at once and I want to deliver the patient management system with all the features, it might take us 1 year to complete, 12 months. But the agile methodology would say that let's break it down into sprints. Sprint one is where we implement the online booking. Within the space of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we are done. and we can deploy the patient management system. So we give it to customers, we give it to the patients, and they can start using. The medical doctors can use and see the schedule. They can see who has booked appointments and so on and so forth. And as time goes on, we collect feedback from the patients and we use that feedback to continue improving the online booking system. And we move to the second sprint and integrate. Move to the third sprint and integrate. So we're simply saying that rather than waiting for 12 months to deliver the patient management system, we can deliver it in less than 1 month by using the agile methodology. So that's what you do as an agile project manager. So you're going to learn different skills focused around the agile methodology, the Scrum framework, the Kanban framework. So you learn project management skills and communication, project management methodologies, the Scrum framework, the Agile and Scrum foundations. You learn the Scrum artifacts, increments, your product backlogs, how to leverage sprints, end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence on projects, and so on and so forth. So you learn how to use Jira to track deliverables, Trello to track team members' tasks, responsibilities, Draw.io for process mapping, Confluence for collaboration, and generative AI for the project manager. And Jira also has an AI component called Rovo. So Rovo is an AI component in Jira that helps you leverage AI as a project manager. Now, the difference between the Agile project manager and the healthcare project manager, you do exactly the same thing. You learn exactly the same skills. The only difference is the healthcare project manager focuses on projects within the healthcare space. All right. So if you choose the healthcare project management program, 80% of your projects would be in what? Healthcare. Okay. In terms of the timeline and so on, they're pretty much the same. 6 months learning, 2 months internship, and so on and so forth. Now we move to financial analyst and the HR analyst. So these are two exciting roles. The financial analyst is a data analyst. The HR analyst is also a data analyst. The difference between them is the financial analyst analyzes financial data, financial records. They help organizations to do what? Make better financial decisions. They look at revenue and expenses. They build financial models. They look at investment opportunities, analyze to see the cost benefit analysis. Should we go into this project or not? What's the base case? What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? And so on and so forth. And the beauty about all the programs I've been talking about so far, you don't need experience to get started. Anybody with zero skills, just like me, when I started as an industrial chemist graduate with no experience, but I learned all these skills and I moved into a role as a data analyst. So you start from the foundation and you build yourself to the level where you can showcase that you don't just have the skills, but you also have work experience. So problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL, these are your data skills as a financial analyst. Then you move into accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and generative AI for financial analytics using ChatGPT. You also learn data skills as a HR analyst, the same data skills, and then you learn the core HR areas: performance evaluation and HR analytics, HR metrics and life cycle, analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and chat GPT for analytics for the HR analyst. The timeline is pretty much the same: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Then you have the GRC analyst. As a GRC analyst, your role, you are a governance, risk, and compliance analyst. So you are a cybersecurity professional, but this is an aspect of cybersecurity that does not involve any complex technical skill in terms of you're not learning how to write scripts, you are not learning penetration testing, and so on and so forth. You are simply a professional who helps a company stay safe. You help them follow the rules and avoid regulatory problems. So, as a GRC analyst, what do you do most of the time? You help the organization run properly. Nothing risky is happening. The rules are followed. You put controls in place to prevent those problems. And I'll give you one example. Sandra is a data protection paralegal. I'll take you to Sandra's profile very quickly. We're going to come back. Okay. Sandra Stevenson. Okay. So Sandra is a data protection paralegal. Data protection. Do you know what that means? It means that whoever must get access to the data within an organization, the rules and framework the person must follow, Sandra is the one that creates those policies, those rules, and the framework. So if a new employee starts in a new company, how do they get access to a sensitive database, a sensitive data warehouse? If I get a job with the NHS where I would work with NHS data and medical records that are confidential, in the UK, it's the GDPR. In the US, it's HIPAA. In Canada, it's FIPA. How do I ensure that we maintain, we comply, we are compliant with the data regulation? Sandra is the one that ensures that that happens. So she creates a governance framework to say that this is the owner of this data warehouse. This is how a new employee must request for access. This is the reporting line. You request for access using this system. Your manager or your line manager would approve. It goes to the head of IT, the CIO, and so on. They must approve, and so on and so forth. So you are simply putting controls in place to ensure that people that shouldn't have access to certain systems and networks and data don't have access. You are checking if things are working properly. You are monitoring, and you are also ensuring compliance with regulatory, processes and regulatory standards, and you report to management. That's what you do as a GRC analyst. So you're creating documents, policies, designing the framework, and so on and so forth. Okay. Very important. So you learn all the key areas of getting into GRC, introduction to GRC, GRC and business, enterprise risk management processes, designing and selecting security controls, information system audits, and third-party assurance, and so on and so forth. You learn how to use Kali Linux and VirtualBox during your program. It's also 6 months learning, 2 months internship. So it's an intensive, immersive program that ensures that on day one, you know how to do the job as a GRC analyst. So this is not your become a GRC analyst in 4 weeks or become a GRC analyst in 8 weeks. No, it's an immersive, intensive program that gets you to know how to do the job as a GRC professional when you get that job. Again, your class would run 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. if you're in the UK, similar time zone in Europe, in Africa, as long as you're in a similar time zone, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. If you're in Canada, you're in North America, in the US, similar time zones, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And the last program we're going to look at today is product design. As a product designer, you are somebody whose responsibility is to determine how a digital product looks, how it works, and how it feels from the user's point of view. So anytime you open your Revolut app, you open your Lloyds banking app, you open your NatWest banking app, your Starling Bank app, whatever banking app you use, you open it, you see the colors, you see where the buttons are, and so on. Somebody designed the banking app to look that way. The Zoom we currently use at the moment, somebody designed where the button should be, how should it feel when somebody logs into Zoom, how do you mute your mic, and so on and so forth. So a product designer is somebody who ensures that the way you feel when you use a product, the way you interact with the product, the design of the product is their responsibility. So mobile applications, websites, and so on and so forth. A product designer would build it, design it, and then the software developer or the web developer, as the case might be, would go ahead and build the actual system. So if you're somebody who has a flair for graphics design, you like the creative arts and so on and so forth. You've done interior decoration, you've done makeup design, you have a flair for design essentially. Product design is a fantastic career path for you. Now, the product design timeline is a bit different. It's for 4 months, 3 months learning, and 1 month internship, and your classes would run from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. UK time. So these are the skills you need to learn. You learn UX, user experience foundations and research, usability testing, portfolio and AI for product design, wireframes and visual design and prototyping. So you're going to learn how to use Figma for your prototyping, Framer, Claude for your AI as a product designer, and you'd also get to learn how to use Notion. Okay. And these are the career path and the skills you need to learn. I took my time to list them one after the other simply because if you don't know the skills to learn, but you know, I want to be a data analyst or a business analyst and so on and so forth, you might find yourself in hot water, not being able to land interviews because you don't have the right skills. So strategy number one, don't forget, get into a high demand career path. Strategy number two, don't forget, learn the skills the right way. How do you learn the right way? Learn in a project-based environment, and that is learning by doing the work. And you also showcase what you have done in a portfolio. Strategy number three is you must gain work experience. All right. Somebody talked about work experience at the beginning, and I said absolutely phenomenal. If you don't have work experience today, you're going to struggle to land a job. It's a no-brainer. And I've explained and I've shown you the reason why that's the case. Employers are not taking a chance on you. Entry level roles today, entry level, when you hear entry level is no longer 0 years of experience. It's an average of 3 to 5 years of work experience. Entry level is now 3 to 5 years of work experience. So employers are saying, I don't know how you want to get the experience, but you need to have work experience. So how do you gain work experience? That's the big question. So when you go to Sandra's profile, for example, what did Sandra do to get this job as a data protection paralegal? She listed her work experience with Amdari, which is where you would all do your internship. So when you are done with your 6 months of learning, you join Amdari for your 2 months of internship. She listed Amdari as part of her work experience. So when they saw her and assessing her for the interview and all of that, they didn't see her as somebody who was a learner or who was a beginner. You can see the things she said she had done, which she actually did during the internship: conducted security risk assessments, ensured compliance with regulatory framework, ISO 27001, the GDPR, and so on. And you hear her, I'm going to play her video. You'd hear her when she spoke about these things that she did and how she utilized them during the interview. So when they see that you have done all of these things, then they see you as somebody they can hire for the role. Same with ICMAT. I showed you ICMAT earlier. Okay, same with ICMAT. ICMAT did not position herself as a trainee or as a learner. She positioned herself as a data analyst who was already on the job. Same with GAD, same with every other person. The guy who is a pathology data analyst, the same thing. Listing either Tenalytics or Amdari, where you do your internship as part of your work experience. And when you do that, it's the only way you can reach out for a reference. Okay. Sandra couldn't have said, I want to get a job as a data protection paralegal, but she go gets a reference from a care home. It makes no sense. A care home can provide a reference for you as a GRC professional. You must show a reputable organization where you have done that job as a GRC analyst, as a data analyst, as a data engineer, as the case might be. And that's the only way you can get a reference that is suitable for the role you want to get. Okay. So you must gain work experience. So how did ICMAT gain work experience? Very simple. I've shown you the project from the class. When you work on projects, you learn in a project-based environment. You work on a lot of projects, 15 to 25 projects. They become part of your work experience. Then you have your internship with Amdari. Amdari is a sister company to Tenalytics. When you're done learning with Tenalytics, you move to Amdari for your internship. Okay, Amdari is also registered in the UK and registered in Canada. So you can list Amdari as part of your UK work experience. And again, you learn more than just your technical skills. You work with other professionals, you work on projects, and you can list those projects as part of your work experience. And when you do that, you must showcase and have evidence in your portfolio. So before the interview even happens, the recruiter already knows that they already understand your abilities because they've seen your CV. The link to your portfolio would always be on your LinkedIn and on your CV. So they can see your portfolio. They know how good you are. They've seen your value. They're only inviting you into that interview to validate all the things they have seen. And that's how you get the job. So we're going to listen to Sandra very quickly, where one of our co-founders, Matam Dari, interviewed Sandra. Oh, Sandra, how did you get the job as a data protection paralegal? I'll play just about 1.5 minutes. It's a 6-minute long interview, but I'll play 1.5 minutes. I want you to hear how the project she completed, how they formed part of our work experience that she used to land this job. Okay, so let's go there very quickly. I want you to listen to the interview and then I'll come back. I'll walk you through strategy number 4 and strategy number 5. Okay, so sit back, relax, and enjoy Sandra's story.
Yeah. So what specific skills would you say you got from the program that really helped? That's from the Amdari internship that really contributed, because we know you had your own part to play, right? So what part of this internship, the skill, the project, what aspect of it contributed to you acing your interview?
I would say, so one of the things that have happened is that because of my work at the moment, retail, it clashes with the time that I have to join the actual Amdari meetings and all. But anytime I have time, I join, and I've worked on about 4 projects, I think. And those projects were they were like real life, tasks that you do in actual companies. Amdari is a company, don't mind me. So it has been very interesting, to be honest, working on I learned about the ISO, GDPR, and for me, GDPR is what I'm interested in because that's data protection and all. So just checking companies' compliance with the GDPR, with ISO, NIST. I mean, it gave me an edge during my interview because I was able to talk about all of this when they were asking me questions. I was able to refer to these frameworks and just how I've been helping companies to be compliant. And I mean, that's one of the things that I believe helped me. And then communication as well. I mean, this communication is something that is very important as a GRC professional. So all the times I've attended sessions, the people that have been teaching me, Abby is one of them. She's very great with her teaching. She communicates very well and tries to make sure that we understand things. So it also helped me during my own interview, explaining things as simple as I could, not putting jargon, big English and all that. So it really played a part, honestly, in me landing this job.
Awesome. All right.
Okay. So I'm going to cut it off right there. It's a long, interview, about 6 minutes. The link is on my slide. Remember, fill the form. Don't forget to fill the attendance so we know you attended and we can send you the recording. We send you the slide. We send you all the materials. But you heard what Sandra said. She worked on projects. The GDPR was a very key one for her because she wanted to get a job in data protection. And if you go to Sandra's LinkedIn, you'd see where she listed it right there. GDPR. Okay. NIST, ISO 27001. These are the things that helped her during the interview to help her land that job. So don't forget, skills alone would never get you the job. Everybody is skilled. Everybody has done one training here, one place or the other, and so on and so forth. But what they have not done is they have probably not learned the right way. I've seen this too many times. Do you have a portfolio? No. What type of projects have you worked on? I look at the projects and compared to where you want to get a job, there's no way you get that job. And more importantly, you want to have experience doing the things you'll be helping that company do. That's the only way they invite you for an interview. All right. So I'll take you to the fourth strategy. Let's go to the fourth strategy of what you need to do. And the fourth strategy is very simple, and that is know where to apply and how to apply. So Ikmat, in applying to that job, she knew where to apply and how to apply. And this is a major challenge for so many people. Okay, you apply on the conventional job boards, on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on CV Library, on read.co.uk, and so on and so forth, on NHS jobs. If that's all you do, you'll get the exact same results that everybody else is getting, which is, unfortunately, we can't hire you. Or, like you all said at the beginning, it's a lot more difficult to get those jobs today. So you can't be conventional when you want to get unconventional jobs, or you can't be conventional in unconventional times. So what did Ikmat do that helped her land the job? Two things were very important when it came to where to apply and how to apply. So one of the things we do at Analytics is you have a job board. You have a job board where we have paid to so many job boards that are paid subscriptions. So you don't have to pay the subscription. So we pay, we vet these jobs, and we know that these are the type of jobs you can get. These are the jobs that come with visa sponsorship, exclusive visa sponsored jobs. Okay. And we upload them into your job board. So I'll show you what the job board looks like on your LMS. The LMS is your learning management system. When you've paid for a program, for example, you join the LMS. Okay. And this is what it looks like, your dashboard. And at the left-hand side, you'd see where you have your job tracker. So if I click on the job tracker, for example, it takes me to the job board. So I can see the job board right here. All the jobs available, the ones I can apply to, the ones that come with sponsorship, and so on. So say I want to apply to jobs as a business analyst. I type in business, analyst or whatever the case is. I can see a role right here, business intelligence analyst. And it does what? It comes with sponsorship. I can simply just click on that. It takes me to the job board and I can start applying. All right. This is a job, a business intelligence analyst role with the Nottinghamshire County Council. So it's a council job. Okay. And the interesting thing is if you go to the requirements, what do they want? Remember, I showed you the skills you would learn as a business analyst. Technical skills, proficiency in advanced Excel, SQL, Power BI, and DAX. DAX is data analysis expressions. It's a language inside Power BI. So when you learn Power BI, you're also going to learn DAX. So you can see why I mentioned earlier that in 2026, you struggle to become a business analyst a data analyst without understanding these skills. All right. So you come in here, you apply to these jobs, and before you start applying to the conventional job boards on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on Reed, on CV Library, you come here first to apply. Okay. And this is the Tenalytics job board on your LMS. Then you also have the Amdari job board. So the Amdari job board is when you're done with your learning, you also you go to Amdari for your internship, and you have a job board available right there where you can also apply to jobs. You still have access to the Tenalytics job board. You have access to the Amdari job boards. So they are separated. So you have different jobs you can apply to. And that's the reason why those are Tenalytics that have gone through our program. They get those interviews a lot faster. And when you get the interviews, we prep you for the interviews, and I'll show you how that works as well. And of course, you also have your general job boards. We show you the general job boards. We walk you through where to apply, how to apply. We tailor your CV for you, and we show you how to tailor your CV to job applications going further. That was what ICMAT was able to do, knowing exactly where to apply. When you know where to apply, the next step is how to apply. Okay, so now I know that there's a job board. The question is, how do I go ahead and apply to jobs? And that's where we have an exclusive proprietary tool called CV Matchly. Now, the beauty about CV Matchly is it doesn't matter the type of job you want to apply to. Visa sponsored jobs, NHS jobs, civil service jobs, CV Matchly would do it for you in the shortest time possible. It's an AI-driven proprietary tool, and I'll demonstrate it for about 5 minutes so you see the magic, the way it works. So for a lot of people, the struggle is you've applied to a job. In about 2 weeks or 1 month, you get an interview invite and you can't even remember which job did I apply to, which CV did I use to apply, and so on and so forth. CV Matchly helps you document all those things. If you're one of those people that have applied to a job before and you got an interview, you couldn't remember what job you applied to, you couldn't properly document the job role, the link to the job description, and the CV you used to apply to the job, type in a yes into the chat. If you think that's a major problem that a lot of people struggle with, type in a yes or a no into the chat. I have faced that problem myself, so I know. David says yes, Desmond says yes. It's a major challenge. You want to apply to a job, you have to create a folder, you copy the link of the job, you open a Word document or a Google Doc, you paste it, which CV you've modified your CV to apply to that job. You take that CV, put it in the folder so that you remember that this was the CV I used. It's always a hassle and it can be very messy. Okay, so I'll show you how using a tool can solve that problem for you. In 2 minutes, you have everything done and dusted, and that's CV Matchly. So I'm going to demonstrate CV Matchly very quickly, and then I'll come back and give you the fifth and the final strategy of what these people have done that enabled them to land jobs. Now, let's try to apply to a job in the NHS, okay? So I'll type NHS jobs. It takes me to the NHS job board, okay? So I can search for jobs here. I want to apply to a business analyst role. So I type business analyst, okay? And I type search or data analyst and so on. So I can see over 3,000 plus jobs, but I want to filter, and I want to filter to a job that has a pay range of 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and 60 to 70, because I want the job to be above the salary threshold to be eligible for the skilled worker visa. Okay, so I select the three pay range: 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. I apply the filter and I want to see the jobs available. So it's reduced from about 3,000 plus to 870. Okay. So let's pick one of the very first roles. So this is a business data role. This is a business intelligence analyst role. We can pick any of the two and apply. So let's pick this one and let's try to apply to this job. Okay. So this is one of the, you can see you even have, if you have any questions about the job, you have you have a contact to reach out to, and this is powerful. All right. In strategizing on how to apply, we show you what to do with information like this. And when you have information like this, you utilize it to your best advantage. Okay. But that's something for another session, not today's session. Okay. So you'd see what the role is all about. It's a permanent role, full-time role, flexible working, which probably means you can work remotely and so on and so forth. But I just want to demonstrate something to you very quickly, how CV actually works. All right. Now, normally before I apply to this job, I'd have to read the entire job description, the job requirements, understand what the job is all about, look at the person specification, the job specification, especially for an NHS job. And that would help me create my supporting statement because usually you'd have to provide supporting statements when applying to these jobs. But when I have CV Matchly, all I need to do is open up CV Matchly and upload my CV. So I don't have to worry about, I'm not using Chat GPT to tailor because that would not give you the best results. I'm going to use a tool that knows that I want to beat the ATS and give me exactly what I need that is 100% human and not AI, not sure that it's AI generated. So it has extracted the job description already. I don't need to extract it myself. So it automatically extracts the job description. Are you a critical thinker who enjoys solving problems? If you come here, you'd see it. Are you a critical thinker who enjoys solving problems? So it copies the job summary, the job description. All right. And all I need to do is upload my CV. So I come in here, I click on upload my CV, and I'm going to go to the CV where I have my CV. I'll just pick a random CV, okay? And I'll upload. And the moment I upload my CV, it would analyze the CV for me. It would analyze the CV and show me a score by how much I match the score. You can't, CV Matchly is a proprietary tool. We built it in-house, and this is what has helped people land jobs with the NHS. Okay, why they've been so successful. All right. So it has given me 70% match. It's telling me that my CV matches this job by what? 70%. And let me ask the question. If I apply to this job with a 70% match, do you think I would get the job? Type in a yes or a no in the chat. Will I get the interview? So let's not even go to the job yet. Interview. Do you think I'll get an interview? Type in a yes or a no. Let me see what you think. Yvonne says no. Zbook says no. Philip says no. Sam says yes. Nobody's going to invite you when you match by 70%. Trust me. You're going to struggle. You'll be depending on luck. It's possible. Nothing is impossible, but you'll be depending on luck because most of the people that apply would have a higher match. Okay. So how do you give yourself a fighting chance? And again, the reason why you even have a 70% match is because it's a CV of a data analyst that I used. Okay. And it's a CV that has been tailored to some extent. Okay. So if you take your CV the way it is rough and put it right there, you're likely going to get a far lower match than that. So what do? I'm going to optimize my CV. And I don't have to do it myself manually. CV Matchly does it for me. So I click on optimize and CV Matchly would show me the AI suggestions and so on. Okay, optimization level moderate, and I go ahead, generate optimized CV. And the moment I click on that, it would optimize my CV, generate an optimized CV that I can use to apply. All I would need to do is do a check on that CV. One final check to be sure that the CV contains what it needs to contain. There is nothing there that I can't defend, and so on and so forth. And when I have that, I go ahead and put in my application. So optimization complete. I'll go ahead and download optimized CV. And I'll show you what the optimized CV looks like. I'm going to bring it up in the next few seconds. Open. And this is what the optimized CV looks like. Okay. And you'd see that from the core skills to the technical skills, it has included every single skill, the person specification, the tools and technology, ETL, everything that role requires. I go through the CV, make sure that everything is the way it should be, and then I go ahead and put in my job application. And by doing this alone, every CV I optimize, every job I apply to, it is documented for me. I don't have to create any folder. All I need to do is log into my CV Matchly dashboard. Okay. And when I log into my dashboard, I go to my application tracker and I can see the job I just applied to, the business intelligence analyst. I've not applied yet, but I've optimized my CV. So it keeps it for me right here. The moment I apply, I come here, I go to status and I click on applied. So it moves it from optimization to apply. So I can see the jobs I've applied to. And whenever I get an interview, all I need to do is come in here and I can download the CV that I used to apply to that job. I don't need to look for it anywhere. I can go to the job link and click on the link, and it takes me to the job that I applied to right from CV Matchly. So it documents the entire process for you. You don't have a headache of trying to go create a folder somewhere and so on. You don't have that, disconnect. And the beauty about CV Matchly is before I apply, the NHS usually would want you to provide a supporting statement. All I need to do is come in here and I can generate a supporting statement. I can generate a cover letter. It takes the person's specification, the job specification, and it generates the supporting statement. So if I click on generate supporting statements, it's going to generate my supporting statements and I'll get that and I can use that during my job application process. Sometimes it might take a while for it to complete the generation and I have something I can use to apply. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of so generate supporting statements. I have my supporting statements. So I'm going to take this and I'll put it in a proper document and submit. Okay, so here's the supporting statement. I'm applying to a business intelligence analyst role because Manx Care's objective is to shape a resilient information and digital function closely matches my experience and so on. Okay, so you have a supporting statement that clearly aligns. You can see it's Manx Cares, right? And if you go to the job itself, it's one of the NHS trusts, Manx Care. It does everything for you. And all you have to do, tailor it, make some few adjustments where necessary, go ahead. Does CV Matchly help in interview prep? When you have an interview, Joshua, a real human being preps you for an interview. A human being that has done that job before. Okay, and let me show you how that plays out in your learning management system. So when you have an interview, one problem people face, or you have done a training somewhere before, this was a challenge I faced. One problem I've seen that people face in other training organizations is they have to chase people around. Or I have an interview, I'm chasing my facilitator to prep me for an interview. At Analytics, you don't chase anybody. When you have an interview, all you have to do is go to your LMS, go to your dashboard, okay, and scroll all the way down. So you can see CV Matchly on your dashboard. I'm going to be handing out CV Matchly to a couple of people here today, and I'll tell you who I'm going to be handing it out to for free and how you can also get access to it. Not everybody, but a few people, and I'll show you those that will be getting it. All right. So you can see I have CV Matchly right here. If I scroll down a little bit, you'd see where you have your interview preparation. So when I have an interview, Joshua, or you have an interview, all you have to do is come in here and click on schedule mock interview. Okay. So I fill all my details, select the stage of the interview, first round interview. Even if your interview is on Monday and you want to get prepped on a Sunday, you can get prepped on a Sunday, the 7th of June. So I have an interview on Monday, for example. I can get prepped on a Sunday, the 7th. I copy the link of the job, paste it right here. Okay, I paste it right here, paste the job description, and I upload the CV I have used to apply. And when I do this, I schedule my interview. Somebody would join a call, a one-on-one call, live call with me and prep me for that interview. So that's how it works. Joshua that asked. Now, I'm going to also show you Ikmat that got a job. I've been using her as a case study right from the beginning. She spoke about her interview, and you'd hear what she had to say about the interview. In her own words, it was as if the person that prepped her for that interview had seen into the future of all the questions that were going to be asked. Okay? And I'll show you how that plays out. You're going to listen to her yourself and you'll understand how her interview prepped played out. So, our fifth and final strategy of today is don't forget you will need a reference to keep that job. And I've talked about this as I've moved through my session today. So when you get a job, you've been given an offer, it's the HR's responsibility in that organization to do a background check to validate your skills, validate your experience, that you are who you say you are and you can do what you say you can do. So how did ICMAT get the NHS to validate her experience and get that job and keep the job? The NHS reached out to us. So when you list your experience just like Sandra did. She listed her experience with Amdari. Amdari provided a reference for her. When ICMAT listed her experience at Tenalytics, Tenalytics provided a reference for her. I wrote the reference for ICMAT. I prepared it for ICMAT. Same with Gard. Gard is a data engineer, also with the NHS. When Gard got the job, the NHS reached out to provide a reference for Gard. And that's how the referencing works. Referencing is the organization saying that we want to be sure you can do the things you say you can do. Where have you done it before? Where have you used Excel? Where have you used Power BI? And we vouch and provide that reference for you. Okay. And that's how the referencing works essentially. So everything I've said in terms of the 5 strategies can be broken down into learning the right skills, learn and focus on one area. We package you, which means presenting and positioning you as the best candidate for the job. And how do we do this? Helping you gain work experience. We revamp your CV for you. That very first CV, we revamp it for you, and you'd have the opportunity to go ahead and know how to tailor. So we revamp it and show you how to tailor your CV to job requirements. Okay. We optimize your LinkedIn profile, show you how to build a portfolio and upload your projects into your portfolio because that's your warehouse of evidence. We have mentorship sessions every Thursdays. I'm not showing you the mentorship session yet, but I'm going to show you. The mentorship session is absolutely phenomenal. And this is where you have the opportunity. I'll show you what the mentorship session looks like. Every Thursday evenings, when you're back from work, in the evening around 9 p.m., 1 hour, 9 to 10, sometimes 10 to 11, you have your mentorship sessions. The last one we had on Thursday, this past Thursday, was securing the global talent visa. Okay, so there are some people that want to get the global talent visa, the technician endorsement, and we brought in an expert who has the global talent, who got the technician endorsement and has the global talent visa. We brought them on board and step by step walk you through every single thing you need to do. Okay. And if you've missed anything, the recording is always there. So 2 weeks after, you can come back, click on the link, watch exactly what happened in that session. So you've not missed out on anything. And I'll show you what the session looked like. Okay. So we brought in Timmy, Rotimi Olorunfemi. Rotimi is a friend of the house. He came in to showcase what the UK Global Talent Visa is all about, how you can get, endorsed by the Tech Nation, and so on and so forth. Okay. We bring in experts like this to walk you through and hold you. Before that, it was how to tailor your CV to different health tech roles. Again, we brought in another expert who works with the NHS to help you with this. Okay, so you have the slide. You can always come back, download your slides. Olufumilayo Salako was the one who came to handle the session. She works with the NHS. She went through Tenalytics. She got a job with the NHS. I didn't even showcase Oluwafumilayo's profile today, but she's one of the people that joined our program, got a job with the NHS, and she was the one that came to handle the session. Oluwafumilayo Salako. Okay. And Fumi's responsibility was simple. Her responsibility was to simply come in here and help you do the same thing that we helped her do. And you listening to her, somebody that has done the job, someone that has gone ahead of you, it's easy to relate to her. Okay. These are the type of mentorship sessions you have from professionals who have gone ahead of you. You have a body mentorship, how to move within the NHS, strategies to tap into the hidden job markets, and so on and so forth. For some of your sessions, you get to see me. For example, this was a session I took, building a personalized networking plan. Okay. And so on and so forth. So that's your mentorship. And of course, I've shown you how the interview prep works. When you get a job, we provide you with a reference. And when you get that job and there's a project that's a little bit difficult, we also help you on the job. And finally, apply. We show you where to apply. We show you how to apply. And when you do all of this, all the things I've shown you from the past 1.5 hours, learn, package, and apply. That's what helps you get the job. All right. One last thing I want to mention before I show you how to start, for those of you that want to start your journey, when one of the problems people have, like I said, with so many training organizations, because they tell me all the time, oh, Adeza, I'm a bit skeptical. I joined this training. I had to chase my teachers. I had to chase my facilitators, and so on and so forth. We know that's a problem that exists. And what do we do? It's a problem we have solved a long time ago. So we have something we call a drop-in session. All right. You can book 2 drop-in sessions, and I'll explain what the drop-in sessions are. One is for employability, which means you are applying to jobs, you have problems, you are not getting interviews as fast as you want, or you don't know how to tailor. Oh, I'm in healthcare. I've worked as a support worker. I've worked as a care worker, and I want to tailor my CV to a data analyst CV. All you need to do is book an employability session. Click on this link, click on the Calendly, and you can book a session, a one-on-one session. This person would look at your CV and show you exactly what you need to do. It's called an employability drop-in. So that's on the one hand. The second drop-in session you have is a technical drop-in session. So you've joined a class on Saturday. You've watched your video on the LMS. Okay, so this is the LMS like I showed you earlier. You've watched your video. If I click on continue learning, for example, it takes me to my class. Okay, I can watch videos at my convenience. This is outside Saturday, maybe on a Monday, on a Tuesday. I can learn on my own, practice, and so on. But you have questions. All right, you have questions. What do you do? You can book another drop-in session. Okay, you can book another drop-in session, a technical drop-in session, where every day of the week, from Monday to Friday, somebody would join a call, look at the problem you have, and help you address it. So you're not chasing somebody to say, hey, I'm trying to learn this. There is nobody to help me out. That doesn't exist. So if you come here, click on this, book a drop-in session. I can book a session, for example, on Tuesday. I can book on Wednesday, on Thursday, and so on. And you can select the time, your time zone. So I want to use the UK time zone, for example. I want to use British summertime, London. Let me see. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down and I want to look for the UK time. Okay, UK time. UK time. All right. I click on that and I can see the times available. All right. 9 a.m., 5 p.m., 9 p.m. On Friday, 9 a.m., 5 p.m., 9 p.m. On Wednesday, 9 a.m. So I can book a session, a slot any day on a Monday, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and somebody will sit down with me, look at the challenge I have, and guide me on what to do. And these are the things that most people don't have in other places. And why you get frustrated, you drop off, and you really don't know how to transition. All right. And Analytics is also accredited by the CPD in the UK and the American Council of Training and Development in the US. The links are also there. If you click on that, it takes you to the CPD website, the Standards Office of the UK. And what this simply means is that what you are learning meets international standards. All right. And if I click on this, it takes me to the ACTD, and I can also see the ACTD accreditation. Okay. And there are so many other more testimonials outside the UK because people ask, oh, is it just the UK? No. You have people in the UK, outside the UK. This is Sharon, for example. Sharon got a job as a risk data analyst with the HMRC after joining our data analytics program. Sharon is doing an amazing job. Okay. Sharon Inalegu. Okay. So Sharon currently works with the HMRC as a risk data analyst after completing her data analytics program with us. Esther got a job as a contract project officer. But before Esther got this job, Esther worked as a care worker. Today, she is a contract project officer for the UK government. And these are other civil service roles. Elizabeth got a job as a business analyst with the HMRC. The HMRC would also reach out to us. Dear Analytics, you have received this email. Esther has been given a provisional offer for a position at the HMRC. Okay. And as part of the employment process, we are doing a pre-employment check. All right. Richard got a job as a project support officer in August, and he got this job with also the HMRC. You have Francis got a job with the Department of Works and Pensions as a data quality officer after completing data analytics with us. So many other people. Okay. Favor got a job as a financial investigator last year, April, after completing our financial analytics program with the Department of Works and Pensions in the UK, civil service role. And of course, in the US, you have amazing professional Pavel. He used to be a teacher. Today he's a healthcare data analyst in the US. He did data analytics. Bukola used to work in HR back in Nigeria. She moved to the US. She's currently a HRIS analyst, and she got another job as a senior HR business analyst after joining our business analysis program. Emmanuel joined financial analytics. He currently works with the Bank of America as a senior operations consultant. You have Abednego, who is in Ghana, who is a Ghanaian in Canada, got a job in Winnipeg as a quality improvement analyst with the Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic Services. She was out of work for 6 months. She joined HR Analytics. She got a job as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Canada. These amazing professionals recorded videos talking about their journey. Tony used to be in aviation back in Nigeria. Tony moved to Canada. She didn't want to do care. She didn't want to do menial jobs. She joined Agile Project Management in February last year. She got a job in September, just about 6 months apart. And she got a job as a project coordinator in Saskatchewan In Nigeria, you have Christian, who got a job as a data processor and analyst. You have William, who is in Poland. You have Chukwebuka, who is in Ireland, who got a job in cybersecurity as a security operations analyst after joining cybersecurity. You have Vanessa, who got a job as a data analyst in Paris after joining our full stack data science program. And there's so many other professionals. I'll show you where you can get their videos, you can listen to them, get to hear the amazing stuff and how they transitioned. All right. Now, I have one question for you before I play Ikmat's video. I've talked about Ikmat's so much, but I have 3 minutes video from Ikmat and you get to learn how Ikmat transitioned. Okay. But before I play that video, I have one question for you. And that question is, most of the time, we always want to transition. We want to get that job. We don't know how. We've tried all the different ways. We really are not getting the right support. We're not getting the right results that we want. And the question is, are you comfortable where you are? Do you want to really transition? Do you want to really get a job? Do you want to move your career forward? And just type in a yes or no into the chat. Are you comfortable where you are? Type in a yes or a no into the chat. Okay. Are you comfortable? No, no. Hannah says no. Sam says no. Mary says no. Amos, Joshua, Gilbert. We all want better. We all want to get better jobs. We all want to get that job where we can work remotely. Like all the professionals I've shown so far, Ikmat was not, comfortable. She was doing her master's and she knew after master's she was not going to get a job. There are so many people there who they were about 12 months to the end of their post-study visa and they decided to make a change, start their journey, and eventually they were able to land jobs. Okay, so what you want to do is, I see it, you're not comfortable, I feel the way you feel. You are not comfortable and you shouldn't be comfortable where you are because you deserve a lot better. Okay. And I've shown you the 5 strategies on how to get it. And I'm going to show you how you can start your journey on the 4th of July. Okay. On the 4th of July, 2026, I'll show you how you can start your journey on the 4th of July. But I want you to hear from Ikmat, somebody who started from where you are. She was exactly where you are currently today. She didn't know what to do, but today she's doing amazingly well. Okay, so I'm going to play Ikmat's video. I want you to listen to Ikmat just for about 3 minutes, and then I'll show you how you can start. What does it take for you to start? And how can you also get access to CV Matchly so you can do your job application in the shortest time possible, multiple jobs per day, and start to land interviews. So let's hear from Ikmat, and then I'll come back and walk you through how to start your journey today.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the Match cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. For me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. In Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have analytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far, and that's a very good advantage. So yes, analytics for the win.
So that's Ikmat. I've talked about Ikmat, multiple times today, and that's her story. Okay. She got no's, not like it was the first job she applied to and she got it. She also had some no's. But the beauty about it is we have a way of getting you, especially if it is a remote interview. You record the conversation, we analyze it, we take that feedback, and you get better in the next interview. All right. So for those of you that want to start your journey, you want to get a job like Ikmat, what do? I have an amazing discount for you who wants to start on the 4th of July. It's an early bird discount. Now, the full amount of all the programs I've highlighted so far is almost £1,000, £957. But I have an amazing discount for those that want to start and would be making the early bird payment. And instead of paying almost £1,000, you get to pay just £750, which is a 21% discount. You save over £200 from the original amount. And the beauty is you still don't have to make this payment in one full swoop. You make your payments in installments of up to 5 installments. So what gets you the discount and gets you to start your journey on the 4th of July is £150. So you make £150 and you complete the remaining payments in the next 4 months. So you have a monthly flexible payments that makes it easy for you to start. But the discount is only for 20 people, the first 20 people to register. And I'll show you exactly how to register and how to start your journey. Now you can get further discounts than even the $750. And I'll show you how you can get further discounts when I get to the payment page and I'm walking you through that. Okay. But instead of paying almost $1,000, you get to pay $750 if you choose the 5 monthly payments. And that's simply amazing. All right. And if you have any questions when making payments, or maybe you have a question you want to ask, you can always reach out to any of my colleagues using this number, or you send us a message using this number. But I'll walk you through how to start, how to access the discounts, and how to select the program you're interested in, how to get the 21% off, and even get more discounts down the line with some additional benefits. Okay. And there's more that I have for you. I told you I was going to give CV Matchly to a couple of people, and those are the first 10 people to register. So the first 20 people get the 21% off. But the first 10 people out of the 20 people would get access to CV Matchly for free, 3 months free. Now, what does this mean? It means that when you start your journey, for the first 3 months, your focus is to build skills, build projects, learn, and have all the skills you need within the space of 3 months. You've built your portfolio, tailored your CV and all of that. You then get access to CV Matchly, and that's when you start applying to jobs. 10 people would get CV Matchly for free, access to CV Matchly for free. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to register. And for those of you that also want to take advantage of the discounts and the multiple installments and the first 10 people that will get CV Matchly, I'll also show you how to get that done. All right. So when you click on the link, my colleagues would also share the link in the chat, so you can click on that to access. When you click on this link, it's going to take you to the page, the platform where you can go ahead and register. Okay, so I'll walk you through that in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll take questions and answers. All right, so when you click on that link, it brings you to this page, which is the website, and all you need to do is go to start learning, and you can see all the programs available, the ones I've spoken about today and additional programs I haven't spoken about, because like I mentioned, today's session focused on non-coding career path. So I can click on view all courses and I see all the programs, right? I need to be sure you can still see. Yes. So I want to get into data analytics. I can click on that. GRC, I can click on that. The health tech analyst, which is the healthcare data analyst program, I can click on that. The healthcare project management program, I can click on that. The healthcare business analysis, all the things we've talked about today, you'd find them right here. Okay. For those of you interested in something else, somebody talked about data engineering. You have data engineering right here. You can click on that as well. So let's say I'm interested in data analytics, for example. I click on enroll now. It takes me to the page where I can enroll. And all I need to do is, and I can see all the details, the curriculum. I can look at the type of jobs I can get, the certification I'm going to get, the job opportunities. But I click on enroll. Okay. And enroll will take me to where I'll have to set up a profile. So I'll set up a profile right here. I'll enter my name and I would enter an email. So within the space of a few seconds, you create a profile. All right. So just give me 1 second and I'll create a profile and show you how this plays out. So I enter an email, enter my phone number. Okay. Select, I've read the terms and conditions, and I click on sign up. And the moment you click on sign up, it creates an account for you automatically. All right. And when you create an account, you can then go ahead and select your payment plan. Now, before I select my payment plan, let me maximize this a bit. I want to choose the cohort. I can start in July, the 4th of July, which is on a Saturday, or I can start on the 8th of August. So the beauty is I can take advantage of the discount today, but maybe I have commitments in July. I can't start in July. I can start in August. I can click on August to join the August cohort, or I want to start immediately. I can choose the July cohort. Okay. So once I've chosen my cohort, I can now select my payment plan. Now, remember, I want to pay in pounds, for example, not in dollars. So I come here, I can change this from dollars to pounds to Canadian dollars to naira to euros, depending on your currency, your preferred currency. So I want to pay in pounds. And here is the beauty. Instead of paying almost £1,000, if I'm making my payments in 5 installments, I get a whopping 21% off, and I get to pay just £750, but I don't have to pay at once. It's 5 installments. So I pay 150 to get into the program, start my journey, and I can make the subsequent payments in other, months. Now, if I make my payments in 2 installments, I get to pay £750. I still get the 21% off, but I'm paying in 2 installments. But here's the catch. When you pay in 2 installments, you get a full job application service. And I'll tell you what this means. This means Once you've started for 3 months, you've gained enough skills to start applying to jobs. We do the job application for you. We apply for you and we guarantee you 3 interviews. Guaranteed 3 interviews. Okay, so this is us saying you've never gotten an interview before. If you make payment in 2 installments, we'll take up that responsibility and do the job application for you. You don't have to do it yourself. We'll take it up and do it for you. Full job application service. Do your CV, do your LinkedIn, do the applications. You'd see all the applications we make on your behalf, and your role is just to go into the interview. So once you have the interview, we prep you for the interview and just go into the interview and ace it. We guarantee you at least 3 interviews. All right. And then you also join the Founders Circle. Now, if you make a one-time payment, you don't just get the 21% discount, you get a 32% discount, which means instead of paying £957, almost £1,000, you get to pay 715. You'd save £242. And you also get the full job application service. We apply to jobs for you in your 3rd month. We start the job application, guarantee you 3 interviews, and you also join the Founders Circle. So the Founders Circle is where yourself, myself, the co-founder, the COO, we work with you to help you come up with a clear roadmap from where you are to where you want to get to. So it's a more personalized service. All right. And that's what you get. So these are the different payment plans. Now, say I want to go with the 2 installments. I want to pay $375 today, pay another $375 the next month. I can do that. I click on that, and all I need to do, confirm your information is correct. I've read the terms and conditions, and click on pay now. So once you click on pay now, you confirm your information, click on pay. And this takes you to where you enter your card details, your credit or debit card, depending. So I'm just going to enter mine and show you how this works. Okay, so once I enter my card details, full name, Adeza Suleiman. You enter your postcode as well. Okay, and then you click on pay. Now, the moment you click on pay, you get to where you have to complete your profile, verify your number, verify your email, and you start to get access into the dashboard. Okay, so once your payment is successful, you will receive an email confirmation, and you get a link to access the dashboard, which should also automatically be redirected. Okay, so here it's telling me to confirm my email. So I'd verify my email. Let me enter that right here. 5. Okay, so I verify my email. Once that is done, I complete my profile, my country, United Kingdom, Canada, depending on where you're joining from, and all of that, your name, time zone. So what time do you want your sessions to happen? BST. I want to join classes from the UK. Okay, enter my phone number. Right, your preferred time class, morning 11 a.m. That's my preferred time. You can enter an emergency contact if you want to. It's optional anyways. Emergency contact phone number, you enter that right there. How did you find out about us? You select all of that. I found you on Twitter. I found you on the website. I found you on LinkedIn. Okay, enter your LinkedIn URL. Verify your phone number. Okay, I'll just do mine. So verify your phone number. Once that is verified, you get access to your dashboard. And this is where you start your onboarding. So your onboarding starts from you watching the video to understand the class etiquettes. Okay, so you first of all get a video, a welcome video from me. So that's me right there. You click on play, you watch the video.
Hello and welcome.
Okay, I welcome you into the program. You continue, watch all the other videos, install your tools, install your technologies, and you get ready for class on the 4th of July. Okay, and this is how you start your journey today for those that want to start. Remember, the discount is not available to everyone, it's available to the first 20 people to register. And for those that also want to get CV Matchly, the first 10 people will get access to CV Matchly. All right. So I'm going to take questions because I know you have questions for me. So I'm going to take questions. So please feel free. If you have questions, go ahead and let's hear from you. 3 slots are already gone. Okay. Out of the 20 slots, 3 slots are gone, which means 3 CV Matchly slots are gone. I have 7 left and I still have 17 discounted slots left. Okay, so let's take questions before we wrap up our session today. You can type into the chat if you want to unmute yourself. You can also go ahead. So what I'll do first of all is I'll look through the chat and see the questions you have. And then I'd be very glad to give a testimony one day like Ikmat. Okay.